Okay, so at this point in the unit, you've explained the trigonometry concept to your students using the GeoGebra file you've just seen or something similar to that. You've explained to students how to ascertain whether a triangle is a sine situation or a cosine or a tangent situation, and you would have worked through some examples. But I'm going to leave all that up to you. The next task then is to work through this worksheet series, or something similar to this. Now I think this series is really good, and not just because I made it. There's 4 pages of examples. In this video I want to highlight some specific aspects to using this series which makes it a good approach. The differences are subtle but I think important. First up, students don't get bogged down with drawing diagrams, they get straight into the trigonometry. Secondly, and most importantly, the problems are deliberately mixed. In other words, we are not compartmentalising the mathematics. We want students to have to decide, upon seeing any particular triangle, whether they will be using a sine trig sentence, or a cosine trig sentence, or a tangent trig sentence. Now, the traditional approach would say that this is too complicated for students at this early point in the unit, but I disagree. We don't, for example, want them doing the same thing over and over again with the sine ratio, and then the same thing over and over again with the cosine ratio, etc., because their brain goes to sleep. But with this mix the questions together from the start strategy, most students not only cope well, they much prefer it. I'm suggesting that a worksheet series like this has students thinking about the fundamental principles behind trigonometry, in other words the trig ratios, rather than just remembering, for example, how to do a sine question. It's a much more engaging approach. Now, if you have students who are struggling when trying to ascertain whether a triangle is a sine or cosine or tangent situation, then this PowerPoint might help. There's a link to download the PowerPoint in the course. Feel free to use it if you think it will help. The final aspect to this worksheet series which I want to point out is this. See here? Sheet 2, question 3. Students have been happily working their way to this point through the early questions, finding side lengths, enjoying differentiating between sine, cos and tan, and then bam, out of the blue, how to find an angle. It's just slipped in here without any warning. And I definitely recommend not warning the students that this type of question is coming. This is what we refer to as the brick wall strategy. Let students run into these hurdles before explaining them. Better to explain after they've encountered the wall and then are interested. We talk more about the brick wall strategy in the course, a very simple and very effective strategy. Now, I don't necessarily have students answer all questions in this series. Typically, I'll transition students to the mixed picture questions in their textbook directly from this series when I think they're ready. And I'll do that by saying, okay, look guys, jump to page 253. These are identical questions to what you've been doing in the sheets. It's just that these have pictures. Keep it all low key, and then onto the bearings questions and through to the end of the unit. And finally, what I love about this approach, it saves you time. My experience is that students typically reach those applied picture type questions in their text about 2 to 3 lessons earlier using this approach than when we use a compartmentalised approach. So there you have it, a non-compartmentalised efficient approach to presenting trigonometry to your students. If there's anything there you like, feel free to use it. Thanks for watching.